Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a Makeup Revolution haul from the website Tam Beauty. I mentioned them recently in my first weekly vlog and I got lots of questions about shipping times, prices, if there was customs or whatnot, so I'm going to be covering all of that for you today. Just a quick little kind of update about what's going to be going on with my channel in the next couple days. I had a bunch of videos pre-filmed in December that have yet to go up, so those are going to be peppered throughout the next few weeks if you see my hair different, or I'm talking about the new year, or my hair is straight, whatever it may be. And then on top of that, a lot of these files that I had ended up on a hard drive that broke and it got sent away. So basically, my fail-safe of let me protect all my videos and not keep them on my computer and put them on a hard drive backfired. So anyways, that's what's going on. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still filming videos, still have 3 or 4 videos up a week, but just in case you're wondering like why there's like hauls and random things popping up in weird places, that's what's happening. But let's go ahead and get started. So as I mentioned, I purchased all of these items from the website tambeauty.com. When you go on this website, it says it's by the makers of Makeup Revolution. There's a little Canadian flag next to it, and you can choose CAD for the Canadian dollar. You can also choose a drop down of a ton of countries. It looks like every country. I'm not sure if they ship completely all over the world and globally, but there seem to be a ton of countries there. So as always, if you have any experience with this website, let us know down below. But overall, I had a really good experience with it myself. It did take a little while to get to me. I placed the order on January 2nd, which is also kind of a weird time of year, and like, why was I placing an order as soon as I got back from vacation? But anyways, I purchased the order on January 2nd. It showed up on January 17th, so a little bit of time there, but as Canadians, I've said this before, that is nothing crazy. But the most important thing for me is that I did not receive duties. That being said, someone had commented on my vlog and said that they had run into duties at the door. It is coming from the UK, I believe, because on my invoice it says that I was exempt from taxes because I was either a tax exempt country or outside of the European Union. So that is another thing to keep in mind. It was charged in British pounds and then converted. I paid through PayPal and paid in Canadian. So my entire order was $61, including shipping, free shipping over $40, which is amazing because shipping to Canada, as always, is just gross sometimes, and affordable items can become quite expensive, so that was really nice. And I'm not totally sure how much all of these items cost in the UK or in Canada, but from what I can tell, the prices weren't like jacked up because it was a Canadian dollar either. But let's go ahead and get into the items that I purchased. I also want to note, just before I get into the makeup, that I was so annoyed the day after I placed my order, those new concealers launched, and I haven't heard anybody talk about Makeup Revolution in a long time, and I was like, that's great, I'm gonna get on there, I'm gonna talk about Makeup Revolutions, no one's talking about it, and now everyone's talking about that new concealer and I don't have it, and I'm like, I just placed an order from that website. So I will pick it up and I will review it, but I'm feeling a little bit burned that it literally launched like 12 hours after I placed my order. Anyways, the first item that I have is what I actually have on my eyes, trying to find it here. So they have the Makeup Revolution Reloaded Eyeshadow Palettes. I don't have very much experience, if any experience, with their eyeshadows in a palette. So the one I'm wearing on my eyes today is the Neutrals 2. And this is the one that appealed to me the most. I thought it was just so beautiful. It's really, really unique for a more affordable palette. These all retailed for $6.83 Canadian, which is just exceptional. Like, that's crazy. That does not happen around these parts. So there's tons of mattes in here. That being said, I've only used this palette once, so I'm gonna have to report back on a lot of these items, but there are a ton of mattes in here. It is so incredibly warm and like beyond warm. If you're like, oh, I like warm brown shadows, this is like next level. If you like orangey, pinky, red shades, this is just so gorgeous. I did have a good experience working with this palette. That being said, I did have to build the shades up quite a bit. The shade that I have on my lid here, I did have a little bit of trouble building it up, and then when I blended out the mattes, it kind of blended away a little bit. So it did take a little bit more work, but nothing really hard to blend or work with. That being said, I'm not totally sure what the lasting power is going to be. So I was thinking maybe with these 3 palettes, I would do like a 3 looks, 3 palettes kind of thing, and just kind of go over my experience with these eyeshadow palettes once I've had some more time. Overall, I do really enjoy the shade range. All the shades are quite similar. I can see that being a complaint of people, especially these 3 browns. They're very subtly different, and the only real light shade in here is quite light. So I would have preferred to see, instead of so many similar shades. I think it could use a little bit of a deeper kind of cream shade, a shade that you could use on your inner corner that is a little bit creamy, of a cream color, and then we didn't need the mattes. But I do really enjoy just the slight variations on all of these like corally oranges. So far really enjoying this one. And then the other two that I picked up are potential kind of dupe items, and I don't know what my frame of mind is, because I talk a lot about I want affordable brands to step up and create palettes that are beautiful and unique on their own instead of copying everybody else. Because just because you're an affordable brand, a drugstore brand, that doesn't mean you don't have a research department. That doesn't mean you don't have someone who can hop on YouTube and see that people want matte shadows in drugstore palettes. They want things that aren't all cool tone. They want things that are gonna have strong shimmers in there. Whatever it may be, it literally does not take a rocket science, nor does it take like a cosmetic guru to figure out what the people want. But I know that you guys are curious about these kind of things, so I did want to pick them up, test out the quality, see how it goes. So the first eyeshadow palette that I have in here is the Reloaded Iconic Vitality. This looks like it's going to be similar to the Modern Renaissance. Right off the bat, I'll say that there's more shades in here than the Modern Renaissance. And it definitely is similar, but I'm not totally sure. I haven't done side-by-side swatches or anything like that, so I was thinking about actually doing like a Modern Renaissance versus dupes palette, because I think I have 3 dupes in my possession right now of the Modern Renaissance, which feels blasphemous because I love the Modern Renaissance. But that being said, the shades in here are all, it's weird, it's like they don't feel super powdery across the board in all of these palettes, but I noticed when I was swatching them, I had powder everywhere all over like my white blanket that you guys were always concerned about. That definitely got dirty in the process. And then the third palette that I picked up is the Makeup Revolution Iconic Division. I think this is supposed to be like Subculture, but also maybe Prism. I couldn't tell, and I didn't really dig out my Subculture. But these are super unique shades, or you know, Norvina and Anastasia created super unique shades that they have doubled here. Definitely unique for the drugstore. I have only swatched these. Some of them swatched a lot better than others. Like this green here was quite bizarre. The black seemed a little bit odd. This did come with a little bit of a chunk taken out of it there, but overall it seems like they're going to be good. Something I did notice about all of the kind of shimmery shades, and I kind of mentioned it in the first one, is that the shimmery shades have this like flaky, creamy texture. So it's not like your typical powder shimmer. It almost feels like a cream. And I felt like it was similar to that in the actual Subculture palette, if you felt those kind of like flaky, creamy, shimmery shades. It's a very odd texture, but I kind of noticed that in here too, but I am going to have to use it more before I can kind of give you the go ahead on this guy. Something that I'm really impressed with so far, and I was totally influenced by YouTubers to buy this. I'm a YouTuber, but I'm also a consumer, and I was totally convinced to purchase this by Casey Holmes, along with Emily Noel had mentioned this as well. It is their brow pomade. I have it in the shade medium brown, and I'm wearing it today. It's a really nice texture. It's not too creamy. It's not super hard to work with. You do need to go with a little bit of a lighter hand, and if you do have trouble with brow pomades, keep in mind that you can dip your brush in there, scrape it off on the lid just to remove a little bit of product, and then put it on your brows. If you are looking to create a brow, essentially, if you have very thin brows, pomades can be really, really good. I have thick brows, and I still do really like them. It's a quick application. I do find I need to be a little bit more careful than if I was going in with like a micro brow pencil, but I do really like the end application, and I can get a little bit of a more full brow that way. This did retail for $10.26, so a little bit up there in price when you consider that the whole eyeshadow palette was like $6. You would expect this to come in around $5 or $6 as well, but it does come in a ton of shades, which is really nice. I saw some blondes in there, a bunch of variations of brown as well. So $10 isn't a ton, but it just does seem slightly up there in comparison to the eyeshadow palette price, but so far I'm impressed with the quality. Something I'm not so impressed with, and I don't totally know why I picked it up, it is the Freedom, which is a brand under Makeup Revolution, the Freedom Pro Camouflage Paste. I've never really been a huge fan of concealers that come in a pot. I really like the NARS Soft Matte that comes in a pot, the NYX Dark Circle Concealer, but this is just kind of the texture that you expect a not so good cream concealer to come in. It just has a bit of a greasy feeling. It doesn't seem to build up much coverage. It is quite new to me, so I'm gonna need to use it a little bit more, but I really don't think I'm gonna like it. I don't think it's gonna look good under the eyes. I don't think it's gonna give enough coverage on the skin. It feels like it's going to slip around. around a little bit too much, but like I said, I do really want to try their new concealer. People seem to have really good things to say about that. For my highlight today, I am wearing their Skin Kiss highlighter, and this is in the shade Rose Gold Kiss. I actually really like the effect on the cheeks, but it does have a very similar texture to the eyeshadows that I was mentioning. I don't know if I'm getting my point across in describing it, but it has this just bizarre texture where it doesn't always pick up on your finger and doesn't swatch that well. The brush that I liked using it with, where is it? This brush here I really like for kind of dense products that are a little bit harder, like dense highlighters that are a little bit of an odder texture. This picks it up really well. Good for cream products as well. It's the Inglot 4SS. It's a little more densely packed, so I like a brush like this for it as opposed to my Morphe whatever it is that I generally use to highlight with something that's a little bit more powdery and gives you a little bit of kick up. This is a bit of an odd texture. I wasn't totally sure when I swatched it. I was like, oh, that's such a miss, but when I put it on my face, I was actually like, oh, that actually has a really gorgeous effect. I love the color because it's a little bit peachy. I was so stuck on gold highlighters for a long time. I was like, I cannot justify another gold highlight, so let me pick this one up. If you are looking for just about any shade of highlighter, it comes in a ton. They've got some super icy ones that look a little bit more blue-green, some that look more pink, and then some really just more typical highlights like your light champagne, your pearly shades, your gold. So tons of different shades in it. Retails for $8.50. As you know, I have had a real obsession with cream contouring in the past year. It was never something I was interested in. I don't know if I was scarred from the Anastasia cream contour palette because I hated that, but once I started discovering stick contours, I was like, wow, there's something to this. It's easy, it looks beautiful. So I'm always on the hunt for great affordable options or just great options in general. So I decided to pick this up. It is the Freedom Pro Contour Shaped Stick. This is in the shade Dark, and I like this so far. This retails for $8.50, comes in 4 different shades. The shade is definitely a little bit warm, but I'm okay with that. I'm just looking to add definition to my face. I'm not necessarily looking to like sculpt and change the entire shape of my face. Just looking to add a little bit of warmth and definition, the same places I would put a bronzer, essentially. So I do like both of the shades in this. I definitely like the contour more than I do like the matte highlight shade, but that can be just, I always am just kind of looking for the contour portion. The highlight to me is just kind of a bonus, and if that's great, it's great. So I do like this. I felt that it blended out easily. It doesn't have a ton of pigment in there. It's blendable, which I think is good for a product like this. My kind of issue with this is how skinny it is. It makes me a little bit nervous when I'm using it that it's going to crack. I wish it just had a little bit more thickness to it. Of course, just be careful not to roll it up too much, but my favorite contour sticks like the Wet n Wild or the Dior definitely are a little bit chubbier. They feel more substantial. And with this, I kind of felt like I was playing with fire, and maybe it's just because I'm not used to something so skinny, but it does have a nice formula so far. As I mentioned, there's Makeup Revolution and then Freedom, which I think is associated with them, and then also they have Makeup Obsession, which kind of looks like it's trying to be Makeup Forever, and then hashtag Pro Artist. I don't know, the whole spectrum, umbrella, family tree of all of these brands is a little bit confusing to me, but they are all available on the Tam Beauty website. So the next few things I picked up were a few more contour items. I was on a real contour kick. These are powder products that come in a little pan. These were $5 Canadian. They come in a ton of different shades. They have eyeshadows, blushes, matte highlights, shimmery highlights, contours, did I say blushes? I think I did. Anyways, I decided to pick up these two because I thought, first of all, they could be good for travel, and I'm always looking for good under eye setting powders and contours. I'm always looking for just good makeup in general. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I have the shade Banana Powder C11, and then I also have Contour Powder C104 Medium. So I use this to set my under eyes today. Not sure. It doesn't have a ton of pigment. I definitely prefer a more either translucent or pigmented. This is kind of somewhere in the middle, and it is a little bit of a drier texture. I don't have dry under eyes. Oopsie daisies. I don't have dry under eyes by any means, but I did feel like this looked a little bit dry under my eyes, but that's just kind of my first go at it. And then this powder here I used to kind of contour my face, and it seemed to be a really nice shade, a little bit powdery. Both of these are a little bit powdery, but not like a smooth powdery, if that makes sense, at least for this one anyways. And so, but so far they do seem good for $5 each, and they're quite a unique product. It's hard to find like a good banana powder from the drugstore sometimes, so these could be a good option, especially where they come in so many shades. But this Pro Filter one that I don't know if I got the shade that's too light or what it might be. I don't even know what shade it is. This is also, doesn't come in a pan, which I didn't realize. It retails for like $2 less, so that's probably why it was cheaper. But this definitely had a really chalky chalky feel. I really did not like the way that this felt. This may be the kind of thing that I would use on my inner corner of my eye to set my eyeshadow primer, something like that. But if I had the opportunity to not purchase this, I would have probably left this out of my cart. I don't know why I got both of these, but if you're in between the two, I definitely like the Makeup Obsession one better. I know this isn't a gigantic like haul of products, but I did want to kind of mention the website and talk a little bit about the shipping and whatnot, because I know that people were curious and I didn't want to weave this into another haul and have it go too long. So I did want to mention a couple other items from Makeup Revolution that I really like in case you find yourself on the website. Something that I've talked about before, maybe even in like a yearly favorites, definitely a favorites video, but I definitely don't mention them enough, I feel like, and they are the matte blushes. I think that these are incredible. I picked these up from Ulta in the States over various trips, but my absolute favorite, what I'm wearing today, is the matte blush powder in the shade Fusion. It's a really beautiful, I wouldn't say neutral, but it's kind of like a really nice pink shade if you're not, or sorry, peach shade if you're not looking to go too bright in your blush. It just has a beautiful flush on the cheeks, makes a great eyeshadow as well, really nice in the kind of crease to warm up a look. And these are both quite powdery, but they last nicely on the skin, go in very, very lightly, especially if you're using a shade like this one. This is another one of my favorites. It's in the shade New Rules, and it's just so pretty. I know it looks crazy in the pan, but just tread lightly and it gives you such a nice flush to the cheeks. As I mentioned, these are both matte, and I find matte blushes at the drugstore can be a little bit of a struggle, and these are available at Ulta. You can purchase them online in store or from the Tam Beauty website, and they have a ton of shades. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what your favorites from Makeup Revolution are, what products you would like to know more about, and stay tuned. I will buy that concealer probably sooner than later after I watch some more reviews. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat at SamanthaJaneYT, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!